Welcome to the 24 Flix Entertainment Podcast. Get the latest in entertainment news. Listen to exciting and powerful interviews from artists, actors, directors, writers, comedians, and much, much more. Introducing your host for the show, Marty Jean-Louis.
Welcome to the 24 Flix Entertainment Podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little different because we're about to introduce 24 Flix Sports Podcast. I have Chris and the entire team. Chris, what's up, man?
Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Can you introduce your crew and a little bit about each of you really quickly?
Yes, my name is Chris Cuff. I'm the host of the Real Man Talk Show and a few other podcasts. I love sports. And I'm glad to be joined by Isaiah Thorpe.
Yes, sir.
Who is an actor, show host, and big-time trash-talking sports fan and analysis. And a newcomer to this 24 Flix family, Derek Buckley, who is also an avid sports fan, living computer. We're on the set of the film, and he's pointing out statistics of Florida State and how terrible they are this year.
Yeah, let's not even talk about that one. I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, so Chris, what do we expect to see from this new podcast?
Well, we're going to have a lot of sports analysis on definitely different topics. Each one of us is going to have our own segment to give our own views on things topics that hit us deeply. Sports news, of course, we're going to go through that. Lots of fun. These guys are very stubborn, and they stand firm to their opinions. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth. This is not going to be a smooth ride. There's going to be lots of fireworks on each episode. I guarantee it.
I love it. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself, Isaiah.
All right. Well, as Chris said, I'm an actor. I'm also a writer for 24 Flix, currently writing on the UCF Knights football season. And I'm ready to debate.
All right, let's do it. Derek, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm new to everything, like Chris said. Helped you guys out with another project. And I'm just ready to show Isaiah why I'm right with my particular sports takes.
Ooh, I love it. Okay, so let's play a little game to see how much you guys really know about sports.
Okay, let me pull up Google real quick.
So, the Jags and the Panthers entered the NFL in what year?
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, wasn't it 94? Ooh.
I said 95. I know the Jags went to the playoffs.
Isaiah, what do you think?
I'm going to go with 93. 93?
The answer is 1995. So Chris wins this point.
All right.
That was for the Jags, right?
Jags and Panthers. Both of them.
Man, I should have known that. I wrote a story about that.
Okay, you guys ready for more?
Let's
All
go.
right, what you got?
Yeah. All right. So Muhammad Ali retired in what year?
Oh, you in the years.
Man, the year.
Right. Ooh, I'm gonna go.
You got two guys that weren't even born then.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And me with a fading memory. That's hardly fair.
A 1975, B 1981, C 1989.
I'm going with A, 1975.
Yeah,
81.
I'm going with 75.
The answer is 81. Chris, you got another point.
It's not
That
fair.
gets it again.
Okay, so the next one, you have got to get this one. All of you. Who is the winningest coach in NFL history?
Bill Belichick.
Ooh, I think it is Bill Belichick. I was gonna say Bill Parcells, but Belichick.
Cool, Belichick.
The evil coach from New England, Bill Belichick.
It got to be Bill Belichick. It has to be.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Final answer.
Chris?
Final answer.
Have you guys ever heard of a Don Shula? You all got it wrong.
Wow. We got to study on our sports history.
I was thinking about championships, not actual
Winningest.
Yeah, the ring is what counts.
Oh, yeah, Don Shula.
Winningest. Okay, so let's move on a bit. Now, there has been a big debate about who is the greatest player of all time. Where are you guys at?
Which
in the
basketball?
debate? Basketball.
Basketball.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
For now.
Michael Jordan.
I don't think there is somebody that can surpass Michael Jordan, but that's because of accolades, and he also retired twice. Nobody else is going to be able to achieve the success he did and retire twice in the same amount of time that he did it.
And then furthermore, while some people argue LeBron because of his longevity, which is fair, I don't think there's a player in the history of the NBA that had the highest peak that Michael Jordan has, not only from the eye test, but from the stats as well.
And he played 3 years in college, too.
I really think that LeBron will eventually be deemed the greatest player of all time because of the fact of his size. He can play multiple positions. He needs the wins. He had so many trips to the finals, way more than anyone else. But he has to get more rings, I think. But right now, it's Michael Jordan. But time will tell. He's got a couple more years.
I got one question. So, Chris, what exactly do you think LeBron has to do to be universally deemed the greatest of all time?
6 rings, baby.
6 rings. Okay.
So if he gets 6 or 7 rings, which is definitely still possible,
yeah,
would you consider him? Would you guys, Isaiah and Derek, consider him the greatest player of all time?
I'll tell you what. If he gets 7 rings, I mean, I think at that point we'll have to. But even if he does get 6, I still don't know because
it's really a lot closer
Jordan,
than it is now.
Jordan is undefeated in the finals, never went to a game 7, was finals MVP in all of his championships. But at the same time, though, but at the same time, LeBron is I believe the first player to win a championship on 3 separate teams, while also being the finals MVP. So I mean, so that's something too. 6 will be really close. If he gets 7, I don't think. It'll be really tough not to say that he's the greatest.
Derek, what do you think?
I'm not gonna give it to him. The rings.
See what I'm saying?
Like the rings is nice. I'll give him credit for winning because it's not easy to do. However, we're comparing apples to oranges. They play 2 different styles of basketball, and one thing that LeBron, I think when you compare the two, you're also comparing not just the skill, but mentality. And it took LeBron years to get the killer mentality that we speak so highly of when it comes down to Michael Jordan. And because of that, I think that also plays a factor into it. And he'll, even with winning 6 or 7 rings, he'll still have, 6 losses in the finals?
Yep.
And I don't think that'll be wiped under the rug when you say, oh, he's got 7. I mean, Robert Horry has 7 rings, and we're not talking about him. So.
That's different. That's completely different, though. Robert Horry was a role player. Come on now.
Well, okay, so I'll give you a better example. Bill Russell has 11 rings, and we don't talk about him in the same regard.
That's true. That's due to the era that he played in, and there weren't that many teams back then. That's another thing, too, between comparing Jordan and LeBron, is they played in 2 completely different eras as well. Like, if you look at LeBron sideways, it's a flagrant 2, and you're fined $15,000. So,
yes.
back in Jordan's era, you could clothesline guys.
Yes.
I mean, you could do WWE finishers And
you could drag the
it's a common
coach
foul.
on your ankle across the court.
And it's just a common foul.
So basketball is about to resume in December.
Yes.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's too soon?
I think
Physically for them, go ahead, guys.
I think physically, what Chris I think he was about to say is it's too soon. But as the league, I don't think it's too soon. They're going to be missing out on a whole lot of money if they don't start a little sooner. But in terms of the players themselves, I do think that it's really soon. And I don't know if what's starting are they going to think of the idea to have fans in the stadium?
I would see. My thing, I think it's too soon for the players, for the final four teams, but specifically for the teams outside of the bubble, it's been an incredibly long off season. And the thing is, those teams do have an advantage because of the rest, and they had probably one of the longest off seasons in history.
But wouldn't that make them rusty, not playing so
Very.
long?
Right.
Very.
It would make them rusty, but regardless of when they play, they're going to be rusty regardless, if you think about it. So I think that what the NBA is going to have to do is they're going to kind of have to level the playing field for the players that just finished playing in the bubble. They're going to have to try and come up with some idea or some policy to level the playing field for the teams that were outside of the bubble versus the teams that were in the bubble, specifically the final four teams in the playoffs.
Chris, you were saying something.
I agree. It's too early physically for like the teams that were in the later rounds of the playoffs. They are still trying to heal, especially the Heat. I mean, gosh. But money talks, man. What'd they say? 500 million
Wow.
and above. If they start in January, they're going to lose. So
At the end of the day, it's a business.
money talks. And yeah, you have a whole bunch of teams that didn't even come down here to Orlando. So they didn't get all the playing time they had here. And I believe there's no preseason. They just have like training camp and then go. So it's going to be really, really tough on the NBA players. But we'll get our show. It's going to look terrible.
so Chris, the Golden State Warriors came out with a plan to save the NBA. What was that?
Oh my gosh. Limiting the crowd to 50% of the normal capacity and testing everyone, including fans, including staff, players, everyone. They say it's going to cost $30 million, and they have a system where they can get results in 15 minutes. So not only do you have to wait on the results, you have to have a place for these people to wait on the results, and then they have to spread everyone around the arena, which we've seen. I mean, even Orlando City, they spread them out in the stadium, so that's not a problem. But it's just the testing. And if you have them all waiting in the one spot, say I'm next to Isaiah tests positive and I don't, we're in proximity, so they got to spread them out in that. So it's very, very tricky. But Golden State has the money. I don't know about other teams.
What do you guys think? You guys think this could work? This could save the NBA?
That all sounds good, but I don't know. There's so many. There's so many variables where something could go awry. I mean, but at the same time, is anybody else coming up with any ideas? I mean, it's an idea.
It's an idea.
That's something. I don't know. That's something that I think we'd have to see play out. I'm honestly not sure. I don't know.
I don't think it necessarily saves the NBA. I think that $30 million is a lot of money to shell out, especially after taking such a big loss the previous season. it's nice to give fans the opportunity to come to the games. But then I also think about it in the sense of, all right, you allow 50% capacity. Who are you allowing to buy tickets? How much are the tickets going to cost? Are you going to raise the prices of those things? If you do, I think it's going to be a moot point, because you raise the price of the tickets. Some of the fans that may really want to come may have to sit out a whole nother year, or I don't know if you make up the difference by doing that. And I don't think that having fans in the arenas and stadiums is that important. I think that having a successful season with nobody catching the coronavirus is better than taking that risk.
All right, so yeah, fair point. So what's the worst team in the NBA right now, and what do they need to do?
The Orlando Magic, they need to get rid of everybody.
Oh, I know Derek wants to go there.
I was trying to be fair and think of somebody else besides them.
You can say the Knicks. I mean,
it's probably the Knicks.
It's pretty close to the bottom.
I'm going to be fair and allow, if anybody else wants to take the Magic, I'll go with the Knicks and say it would start with ownership. Sad to say. For them, they have to evaluate the talent that they have. I think one of the first priorities is to get a point guard. If they could do that in the draft, or take the best available player. I don't think that they should get Westbrook in any way, shape, or form. And I think they should just focus on building towards the future. Allow a coach to be there, draft players that will fit his system, and allow them to go through their little bumpy years to see that hopefully the players that they draft develop into becoming the guys that they're hoping for. And the franchise should get better.
Should.
Isaiah, what do you think?
It's really hard to disagree with the New York Knicks, but I'm gonna go with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the reason why is because I will concede that the Knicks most likely have the worst owner in the NBA. However, at least they can even be in the discussion, the rumor mill, to get a guy like Russell Westbrook, who's going to Cleveland. The organization is not well run. They're picking, I believe, 5th in the draft that's not that strong as it is. They haven't really hit on their last 2 draft picks with Darius Garland and Colin Sexton, 2 very small point guards, by the way. The Cavs, their success, they have to find success through the draft because it's not a free agent destination. So with that said, I'll go with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Chris, you said Orlando Magic?
No, it's not the Orlando Magic. Okay. I would think it's the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks have the best city, I would say. I mean, Madison Square Garden is like everyone's favorite place to play. They have a good front office now. They have a good coach now and Tom Thibodeau, but they still got that owner, James Dolan. So many people hate this guy, and he seems like such a jerk from everything we're hearing. And a lot of players just do not want to play for him. And that's a big problem.
That's a fair point, but you said the Knicks have a bright future, but James Dolan. You can't even say the Cavaliers have a bright future.
No.
True. Don't know if I agree with that.
Okay, here we go.
I would. Here's where I think you said that they did a bad job with their last 2 picks with Garland and Sexton. I'd be willing to give you that they did a bad job with drafting Garland. I do think Sexton is very talented, and he's just in a black hole of Cleveland because that franchise seems to go nowhere. Like Kyrie Irving was there, very talented young player. We didn't start paying attention to him to the extent that we are now until LeBron James, or even the year before LeBron got there. I think Sexton, he'll be fine. Darius Garland, we'll see. I don't know why they drafted 2 point guards. And I'll also say this: Colin Sexton should have been drafted by the Magic instead of Mo Bamba. So
yes,
that's part of my spiel on
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go too in depth on it with the Magic and their mistakes in the draft.
Episode on that. Cleveland has Tristan Kardashian.
Beautiful.
Courtney's former.
Well, I think they're getting back together now, so the
so there you go, Tristan
continues.
Kardashian. But they do have Kevin Love. They do have Andre Drummond. So they do have some pieces. Larry Nance Jr. But yeah, it's just Cleveland, man.
Yeah.
Without LeBron,
They're not going anywhere with that.
it's not attractive at all.
And just a correction. I didn't say they did a bad job with Garland and Sexton. I said they didn't hit on Garland and Sexton. Sexton has potential, sure, but he hasn't hit. Is what I'm saying.
Okay, so let's get some Super Bowl predictions and why. Chris, go ahead. We'll start with you.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Two teams I'm really looking at is KC and Pittsburgh from the AFC.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Pittsburgh is on a roll. They're solid. They're 8-1. It looks like the old Steelers, man. They got 3 great receivers doing the job, and they're just a solid piece. As long as Ben stays healthy, I think they'll be good with Roethlisberger there. KC, I mean, they're still a machine, just like last year. And Patrick Mahomes is just on fire. So I think they'll keep going. They have 1 loss too this year. From the NFC, it's getting tough. Things are getting mixed and muddled now. Seattle was looking great, but now they have a couple of ugly losses. But that was my pick, is the Seahawks to go all the way. So Chiefs, Seahawks.
Okay, all right.
Derek, what do you think? What's your pick?
So I definitely have to agree with the picks between the Chiefs and the Steelers. Right now, I'm leaning towards the Steelers. I think defense wins championships, offense sells tickets. In regards to the NFC, I did want to say that Seattle would go. They were my pick. I'm going to steer a little away from that. I'm going to go with the Saints.
Ooh.
And I mean, I'm hoping that Drew Brees gets healthy again for the rest of the season. But I do think that they probably have the best defense of all the teams in NFC, and they definitely have the offensive firepower.
Okay. Isaiah?
Okay. So absolutely in agreement with the Super Bowl pick of the Chiefs. Yeah, I'd say it's between the Chiefs and the Steelers at this point. I will side with the Chiefs because, well, Patrick Mahomes, from a pure talent perspective, is the best quarterback I've ever seen. And it's hard to go against Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Their running game, Clyde's Edwards-Helaire, Andy Reid at the helm. It's tough to go against them. And yeah, defense do win championships, and Pittsburgh does have the fourth ranked defense thus far. Kansas City's not that far behind with number 8. And well, we saw what the Chiefs did to the 49ers last year in the Super Bowl in that fourth quarter. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs for the AFC. And the NFC, I'm going to go with the Buccaneers only because I'm not sure what's going to happen with Drew Brees. He came into this week's game with a cracked rib, left the game with multiple cracked ribs and a collapsed lung. It's possible Jameis Winston can steer the ship, but with the news with Brees' collapsed lung, we don't know how much time he's going to miss now. And
it's over.
And he's an older quarterback. He's 41 years old. If he is out for the season, I don't have any confidence that Jameis Winston can lead the Saints to a Super Bowl. So with that, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady still playing good football. Their running game got off this past Sunday. Possibly the best receiving core in the league. and a stout defense, even though they have some inconsistencies week to week. But that's my pick. Chiefs versus Buccaneers.
Good. So
can I change my pick? Can I change my pick?
Nope, too late.
Can I change my pick?
Nope.
No, I got a good one. Really quick.
What is it?
I'm gonna go wild card. Since
Okay.
the NFC East is a big pile of garbage, I say my Cowboys are gonna win it the rest of the way out.
Okay.
And go to the
All
Super
right.
Bowl
All right.
and run the table.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Cowboys, Chiefs.
Yeah. Okay.
You can leave now. Okay.
Now, do you guys feel like Tom Brady is the same Tom Brady that he's been, or do
No.
you feel that it's coming down now? It's almost that time to retire.
So Tom Brady is not the same guy that he was. Absolutely not. However, I think Tom Brady could squeeze another year or two before he's done. I watched quite a bit of the Bucs game this past Sunday, and Tom Brady did miss at least 4 deep balls to wide open guys, Mike Evans and Rob Gronkowski, passes that he would normally hit on. But outside of that, he still had a great game. He's still playing solid football. I don't think it's time for him to hang it up just yet. By giving maybe 2 more years.
So 2 years max. Okay, Derek.
I'm definitely agreeing with the 2 years max. I do not think that he's the same player. I think he's fortunate to be in an offensive scheme and system that has pieces around him to allow for him to be able to play a lot longer. But in terms of the skill and where he used to be, I think it's dwindling a little bit.
Okay, Chris, what do you think?
My boys are on point. He's got a couple more years. I mean, what a great situation for Tom. He's got all the tools around him. The Bucs are loaded with talent, and adding, AB. We'll see what he does to the mix. But Antonio Brown is going to come through, and if he acts right, I mean, they got one of the best receivers that the NFL has had for years, and he's just getting warmed up. So, and they scored 46 this week, and it's only second week. Imagine when he gets into the mix, like Gronk. It took Gronk a little while to get going. So, yeah, I think Tom is 2 years, maybe 3, but he's got such weapons at his hands right around him. Easy 2 years at least.
Okay, you give him 3 years max. Okay.
Maybe 3, yeah.
Okay. So, Chris, tell me about when this show, when can we expect you to launch the show? Will you have guests? Tell me a little bit more about the format.
Okay, so as you can see, these gentlemen have a lot of opinions, a lot of knowledge. We're going to pull some guests through once we get the ball rolling a few times. We'll see who we can pull in. I'm looking at November 30th, which is like the first week of December, as our first episode. So 2 weeks from today, it'll be up. And just expect, like I said, a lot of fun, a lot of fireworks, and a lot of sports.
Awesome. We love it. So, well, thank you, gentlemen, for being on the entertainment side of things. We appreciate it, and we look forward to hearing you guys argue. I can't wait.
Absolutely.
So enjoy the show, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
Are you looking for a safe environment to watch movies and shows? Well, look no further. 24 Flix is your answer. You can watch thousands of movies, TV shows, without ever worrying about sexual content, nudity, or offensive language. You can get started with a free 2-week trial with 0 obligations. Watch on your mobile device, on your smart TV, anytime, anywhere. Sign up today on your smart device or go to www.24flix.com, the home of unlimited family entertainment.